The girls have been on my neck, okay? The girls have been asking for a detailed makeup tutorial, and I'm here to deliver. Are y'all ready? Let's get into it. Hey sweet girls, hey, hope you're good, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. It's your resident melanin beauty and fellow sweet girl Lade here, and I'm very excited to be bringing you this video. This is probably my most requested video ever. I swear, every time I post a video, whether it's here on YouTube or on TikTok or on Instagram, the girls are always asking for a makeup tutorial, and who am I to ignore the girls? Who? So whether it's date night, brunch with the girls, club, church, you're a wedding guest, it's a graduation, whatever the event is, this makeup look works, okay? It works for everything and anything. I mean, look at that face, just gorgeous. We may switch out the lashes, we may go for a different lip combo, but the base is the same and it's every single time. Girl, let's get straight into this tutorial. We're starting on a blank, clean canvas. I have washed my face and done my skincare, so we're definitely ready to build this face. Just a heads up, girl. As you can see, this video is a bit lengthy because I try to go into as much detail as possible. I literally took this step by step so that you can get all of the tea and you would be able to recreate this look on yourself. Okay, so bear with me, girl. It will be totally worth it, I promise. Also, this is a full coverage makeup routine, so we really get into makeup. If that's not your cup of tea, this will not be the tutorial for you. But yeah, for my full glam girls, here we go. To prep my skin, I'm going in with my Weleda Skin Food Lights. This is a rich moisturizing cream. It's really thick and it gives this immediate hydration, immediate glow to the skin, which I absolutely love. So this is a must for me. Before I start my makeup, I always go in. Do you see what I mean by that immediate glow? Look at how much hydrated and healthier my skin looks. No, tell me you see that. Look at my cheeks, look at my forehead, my entire skin. Chef's kiss, bro. Chef's kiss. Okay, let's get into the brows. My brows, you see, are a bit of an enigma. My natural brows are what you will call thick, but they only grow to thirds of the ways, so it doesn't grow up to the tails. So for that reason, I have the tail of my brows microbladed. They can also be very unruly, so we're gonna get into some quick grooming to prepare the brows for our makeup look. Here I've brushed the brow hairs going down, and anything that's out of the shape I trim off with my teeny tiny scissors. Initially I brushed it going up, and anything that was out of the shape on top I cut away with my teeny tiny scissors as well. Now I'm gonna go in with my beauty razor. I make sure to pull my skin taut at the tail end of my brows, and then I shave off all of the hair that's out of the shape, basically. Because my brows are microblading, which I did myself, by the way. Yes, I did that myself. I did that. Okay, yeah. Because they are microbladed, all I have to do is shave what's out of the shape. And if you're wondering why I'm holding Got To Be glue, it's for my brows. I love the fluffy laminated brows look, which is what I always do. And I typically used to use Got To Be. I've basically run through this tube. But I tried something last week and it completely blew my mind and changed everything. Stay with me, girl. Of course, I'm gonna show you. It's eyelash glue. Yes, lash glue. This is the one by Essence, but I reckon any lash glue that comes in a tube like this will work just as well. I brush the glue on my lashes with the little one, making sure it doesn't touch actual skin. You want to apply a decent amount to make sure that every single hair gets the glue. Then I take my brow spoolie, and you want to brush the brow hairs, the glue into the brow hairs. It's going from like side to side, up, down, all over the place. The goal is to make sure that the glue gets into every single brow hair. It's probably best to do one brow at a time and not do like I did, going like after brushing it and going to do the next brow, because it's glue and it dries fast, so you want to work fast. Once it's a little tacky, I go in with more glue. I'm a little light-handed this time, and then with my spoolie I brush the brow hairs going up or in whatever direction you want them to go, but I want them to go up, so I'm brushing them up. And to lay them flat, you wanna, as you're pushing up with your spoolie, press down with your finger, and you want to do that section by section, kind of how you do your edges when you're trying to slick them down. And just like that, the brow is tame. I like my brow hairs going all the way up. I don't like to curve it at the top, but if you like that, if that's your cup of tea, please go ahead and do that. I'm just grabbing a wet wipe and I'm gonna clean the top and bottom of my brow just to make sure there's no glue on my skin and it doesn't mess up my makeup application. I'm just going in and doing the same thing to the second brow and boom. I love this palette thing that you can hook to your hand because it makes your hand mess free while you're doing your makeup. So we're taking that and I'm going to take my concealer and foundation. This is to clean up my brow. And this is the brush I love to use for brow cleanup. Okay, so on one end of the brush, I grab my concealer. It is the LA Girl Pro Concealer in Fawn. The OGs know that Fawn has been that girl, is that girl, and would always be that girl. So I take that concealer and I place it only halfway from the middle to the end of my brow on the bottom. For this step, the important thing is to use a concealer that's 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. I'm taking that same brush, but with the other side, I'm going to go in and take some of my foundation. I'm using a foundation that's a perfect match to my skin tone. And with that, I'm cleaning up the front half of the bottom of my brow. With that foundation shade as well, I'm going to clean up the top end of the brow. I start out with the brow arcs and I take it all the way down to the tail to define the tail end of the brow. I do not use any product at all on the top front half of the brow. I always check to make sure the shape is giving what it's supposed to before I go in with my small blending brush and blend out the concealer and foundation. I start from the foundation. I blend it out on the front bottom half and then go on the top end before going into the concealer. When blending the concealer, I blend the edges out and then under the brows, I pat because I still want it to be full coverage. And I'm just going to repeat that on the second brow. I like to use the lighter concealer and perfect foundation shade combo on my brows because I find that this gives the best blend. It makes the brows look more natural, more seamless, especially with the laminated brow, fluffy brow look I like to give. This method is what makes it look the most natural in my opinion. I mean, it's 2023. No one is trying to give halo brows and give patchy concealer brows. Nah, that's not a look. See, I blend out the edges and then pat directly on the concealer on the brow. Girl, just trust me and try the concealer and foundation combo, okay? Okay, so now I'm taking my brow pen. This is the Juvias Place brow pen in dark brown, I believe. And with that, I draw hair-like strokes. I go in short strokes, like short strokes at the tail. Not just the tail, to be honest. Throughout the brows, wherever it looks sparse or there's no hair or anything like that. Just to fill up the brow, make it look fluffy, make it look full, make it look nice. You know the vibes. If you can't already tell by now, my brows take the most time and the most work. It typically takes maybe 15-20 minutes to do my brows. Yeah. I considered doing a totally separate brow routine video, but I wanted this video to be as detailed as possible, just in case you were a complete beginner to be able to follow everything and do your makeup and still give. So bear with me, girls. I know it's long, but it's for the greater good, okay? And we're all done. This is what the brows are given once we filled them in. We're gonna go straight into the base now. I'm taking my mattifying setting spray and I'm gonna spray that all over my face. And then I'm gonna go in with my fan just to make sure everything dries down nicely before going in with my primer. I'm using the e.l.f. Jellypop Dew Primer today. This is a primer I'm constantly coming back to just because it's just that good. For context, I have oily skin, like super oily, as in at midday you can fry plantain on my face type of oily. Yeah, so I'm constantly reaching for products that minimize my oil production and keep my makeup in place. And this does just that. Once the primer starts to feel tacky, I'm going to take what's left on that foundation I used to clean my brows up. And I'm just going to use that to sort of kind of color correct around my mouth, everywhere I have dark spots and hyperpigmentation. This is a step I always do. Sometimes I'll do it with the concealer that's a perfect shade match, but for the most part, I reach for this foundation. This is the Juvias Place I Am Magic foundation in the shade Togo. Once I've applied the foundation everywhere I'm trying to color correct, I go in with my foundation brush, and with this step, because I'm trying to cover up dark spots and hyperpigmentation, I push and tap. Pushing and tapping makes sure it's still full coverage while blending it out. For foundation, I'm using the Skinfluencer Full Coverage Foundation Balm from Sheglam. Oh my god, that's a mouthful. I got this sample size off Shein. I bought 3 different shades to test out. I completely fell in love with this shade because it's a perfect shade match. So I'm just going into it and applying that all over my face. I'm not using a lot because that foundation I used to color correct already did most of the work. So I just go in with the smallest amount all over my face. Don't worry, girl. I'm going to leave every single thing I used in the description box below. So if you're wondering about any products, anything, make sure to check it out there. She's even, she's blended. And do you see what I mean by the impeccable shade match? Girl, what do you know about Ruby Kisses, the beauty supply store brand Ruby Kisses? This is a lip lacquer, but because I am who I am, I use this as cream blush. I apply a dot to it chick and I go in with this stippling blush brush to blend it all out. Yes, after my foundation, cream or liquid blush is the first thing I apply. I'm a sucker for blush, so I really get in there. I smile or make strange faces to pop out the apples of my cheeks, and I apply it to my cheeks going up. Do you see how gorgeous that blend is? Would you believe that that was a lip product and not blush? Yeah, that's lip lacquer. Lip lacquer is supposed to be thicker than lip gloss. It's supposed to give like the pigment of a liquid lipstick with the shine of a gloss. But girl, can you see why I use it as blush? Next, I'm going in with my contour stick and I'm just going to apply that to the highest point of my cheekbones and then dot around my forehead and then my jawline to get rid of this double chin that will not leave my life alone. This is the contour placement. The goal of this placement is for extra snatchery, okay? To make the face look slimmer, chiseled. And to blend my contour, I like to use an angled brush like this, or sometimes I'll use a brush, a fluffier, smaller brush like this to really get into the corners. But for today, we're sticking with the angled brush. So when it comes to blending the contour on my cheeks and forehead, I like to blend going up and also starting from the inner edge of the contour to the outside. So I start blending from the inside to the outside until everything is blended out, and then for the contour around my forehead, I blend going into my hair, and then for my jawline, I kind of blend the same way I blend my cheekbones, but I'm going down into my chin. So on the edge going down into my chin, I blend that out until I get to the edge basically. Then we're going to grab a damp beauty sponge and go over everywhere we contoured to blend everything out nicely and make sure everything is seamless. And now for my favorite step ever. Yes, I use 3 different concealers. Because this is a zero waste zone, I'm taking whatever concealer is left from that LA Girl Fawn concealer and I'm going to use that on my chin and upper lip area. For my under eye, the first thing I do is go in with my e.l.f. camo concealer. And I make sure to place that right in the center of my face. I do not drag it to the outer corner. I leave it right in the center. I forgot to mention when I was applying my foundation, but I did not apply any foundation under my eyes, okay? This is our preliminary concealer placement. The goal of this placement, again, is snatchery. Snatchery is all we're after today, okay? I say preliminary because there's more. As you can see, we've placed all of our concealer in the center of the face. Placement is everything. It affects the end results and it can definitely make or break your entire look. After my concealer has set for about 3 to 5 minutes, I go in with my mattifying setting spray before taking this concealer brush and I use that to blend my concealer. I start from the chin, which is what we applied first. So from the chin to the upper lip and then before I go into my under eye. So for my under eye, I start blending from the edges going in, and when I'm blending around the sides of my nose, I take it down the side of my nose to kind of fake a nose contour while I'm at it. And then whatever is left on my brush, I pull out to the outer edge of my under eye. Even with the blending, I make sure to stay in the center of my face, except when I drag it under my eye, but I keep that as close to my under eye as possible. And as you can see, I do not come near the blush area at all. So everything stays centered. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so we start at the edges and blend going in while simultaneously blending down the sides of our nose to fake a nose contour. And we blend going into the under eye. Blend, blend, blend. Whatever is left on the brush, you drag it out under the eye to the outer corner of the eye. I like to use brushes instead of a beauty sponge because brushes give full coverage and I'm a full coverage girly. So concealer is blended, the look is coming together, and you could stop here. A normal person will probably stop here, but not me. Nope, I'm not normal. So me personally, I'm going to go in with another concealer. I like a yellow tone under eye, so I'm going to go in with this yellow tone concealer from Sheglam, and I'm just going to apply a small amount under each eye. We don't need a lot of this product because we already have a base concealer. I'm going to leave that for a couple of minutes, about 3 to 5 minutes to set so that it's more full coverage when we come to blend it out. But while it's setting, we're going to snatch this nose, okay? Let's go ahead and do that. I'm taking this really small blending brush and I'm going to grab my Pure Cosmetics contour stick in the shade dark, and I'm going to go in with this brush direct on the product. Then I grab my mixing palette and I swirl the brush to get rid of any excess product before going down the side of the bridge of my nose to contour. I start at the top around my eyes and I blend that going into my brows before pulling it down, and then I blend going up and down. Then I take whatever is left on that palette and I do the same thing to the other side of my nose. I feel like nose contouring is something that requires a lot of practice because it can go left really quickly and you can end up with a wonky nose if you do not place it correctly. So placement, everything. So girl, take your time with it. Practice as much as you need to. I take whatever is left on my brush and use that to define the center of my Cupid's bow. On a really tiny, precise brush, I'm taking that first concealer I used under my eyes and I'm going to place it down the bridge of my nose, and then I drag it up, going to like the center of my eyebrows and just right above my brows. We'll stop here for now. I'm going to grab this large, fluffy blending brush and I'm going to use that to blend my under eye concealer. With this concealer, I focus the blend as close to my eyes as possible. Again, I start from the outer edges. I blend the edges into the outer corner of my eyes and then also define the sides of my nose while I'm blending it, making sure to keep everything as close to my eye as possible. This is my favorite brush to use to blend my brighter concealers because it's small enough to get into the corners, but it's also fluffy that it gives a nice blend. I use the same brush to blend that concealer down the bridge of my nose and forehead. I'm going back in with that brush I used for my nose contour. There's absolutely no product on it, but I'm just going back in with it to define the nose contour some more in case anything got muted out with my concealer. And this is where we are so far. Are we done with the under eyes now? No, we're not done. You can totally stop here, but me, I'm gonna go in again with a brighter concealer. Yes, you heard that right. I apply a small dot on each side, just a small dot, and I leave that on for about 5 minutes for it to like set so that I can get full coverage and get more out of it. Then I go in with that same fluffy brush again and I blend that concealer out. Same technique here. Starting at the edges, I blend that into the outer corner of the eye. Pat to blend it all in. I take that down the sides of my nose. Make sure to keep everything as close to the eye as possible. Whatever is left on that brush, I use to clean up my eyelids, but I also sort of kind of use it to carve out the shape of the contour around my eye and brow area so that contour is more defined and even more delectable. Babe, look how much lifted my under eye is. This area right here is where I focus my under eye concealer efforts for that lift and snatchery. Just look at the material. Look at how gorgeous everything is as it's coming together. This right here is why I'm team bright under eye for life. Oh, it's just delicious. Such a delicious face, such a delicious melt. Just stunning. You must always keep your damp beauty sponge close because after blending everything out, we're going to go over everything with the damp beauty sponge to make sure everything just blends in seamlessly so that it absorbs any excess products and everything just looks delicious, effortless, and cohesive. The girls on TikTok put me onto the Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder for setting your under eye, and girl, when I tell you this shit is magic, It's beautiful. Before going in with powder, I take that brush I used to blend my under eye and I go in opposite direction, like just push in to make sure there's no creasing on my under eye. And I take a tapered brush and swirl it into the powder to really get into it. And then I pat the powder in. I do a little patting and swiping motion to apply the powder everywhere we applied that under eye concealer. I also go over my eyelids with the powder to set the concealer because we did apply concealer there. So to make sure it doesn't move, I set that as well. Then I take these two loose setting powders. One is a yellow tone powder and one is a more translucent powder. So I mix both together to get something in the middle. I'm taking that on a powder puff. Make sure to pat off or tap off the excess on the back of your hand before going in to apply it on your under eye. The placement is exactly the same as the concealer. I also make sure to use that to define the sides of my nose. I'm just pressing that powder in. I don't necessarily bake, but I do use a decent amount of powder and I make sure to press it in, like press as I'm applying it. And I do use the same powder to set the rest of my face everywhere else I applied my concealer. And then I go in with the same powder and set my brows because I do not like how dark my brows look without setting them. I like the brows a little more muted, so I set them. For sure, you can totally skip this step. To set my contour, I'm going in with my black Radiance True Complexion palette. The girls that get it, get it. I take that contour shade in the middle and then I swirl the excess off on the palette before going to apply it on my skin. I'm just going to apply it everywhere that I contoured. I always go ham on my forehead because I like my forehead to look extra bronze and toasty. Now I'm taking this loose setting powder from Weleda Cosmetics. It's closer to my skin tone. I'm going to take that on a powder puff and I'm going to use this to carve out my cheekbones. I don't always do this step, but on the days when I want to be a little extra, I definitely do this. Then I take my damp beauty sponge again. Remember, that's a non-negotiable. And I go over that powder and press it into the skin to make sure everything's melted and looking seamless. To finish up with my under eye, I go back into my Maybelline Fit Me powder on that same brush. I make sure to tap off the excess. We don't want a lot of powder. And I use that to pat and swipe away whatever powder is still left on my under eye. It's like a little powder sandwich. We did the Maybelline Fit Me powder first, loose setting powder, and then the Maybelline Fit Me powder to finish it up. And then down the bridge of my nose to take off all the excess powder. And we also make sure to dust off all the excess powder on the brows. And everything is starting to make sense. The whole look is coming together, but we're not done yet. We're gonna go in and do blush. For blush, I'm using this eyeshadow shade. You can see that I use this a lot. It's like an earthy brown shade, but with like orange undertone. It pairs perfectly with that lip lacquer blush we applied earlier. Yes, first I used lip lacquer as liquid blush, and now I'm using eyeshadow as blush. One thing about me, I'm always going to experiment with my makeup products and get the most out of this product. And I encourage you to do the same because you never know what you might fall in love with. You can stop here with the blush, but for me, I need more. So I'm going to go in with another eyeshadow palette. Very on brand. Call me the repurposing queen. I love this orange shade from that palette. So I'm just applying that over the first blush shade. And I focus that more on the highest points of my cheeks. And I'm very pleased with the results. This girl is fine, please. What? This powder palette is literally bigger than my head. I'm taking this shade. That's my all over face powder shade on a large fluffy brush. And going all over my entire face except under my eyes with this powder to blend everything in and make sure everything is seamless. And then I take my Weleda Cosmetics Hold Me Down Daily Hydrating Setting Spray and I literally drench my face in this. This is a hydrating setting spray, so it does a good job of getting rid of all of the cakiness, all of the powderiness of all of the powders that we've used and make sure everything melts together. I popped on a dramatic pair of lashes. There's no eyeshadow with this look, so we're going straight in with a black eyeliner pencil to line the waterline. Then I immediately grab a flat eyeshadow smudging brush and I smudge out the waterline. I smudge it down into the lower lash line. Then I grab my mascara and I go ham on my lower lashes. I find that it's always very helpful to have your mirror up and look up when you're doing your lower lash mascara. We're going straight into lips. I grab a wet wipe and I wipe off whatever product is on my lip. And while I'm doing that, I like to use it to carve out the shape of my lips. I'm a nude lip all day kind of girl, so we're doing a nude lip combo. I'm gonna grab my dark brown lip liner. This is a random ass lip liner from the beauty supply store. I use that to outline my lips. For my top lip, I very slightly overline the cupid's bow area, but I do not overline the lower lip or the sides of the top lip. Then I go in with the second brown lip liner. This is by Juvias Place I. I place this mostly in the corners and then smack my lips together to blend it all out before going in with my lipstick. This is Fly Girl by Boxom. Once that's blended out, I go over it with a mauve pinky shade lip gloss by TSG Cosmetics. Oh, that's a really pretty lip combo. And I'm just gonna smack my lips together real nice. Make sure to blend it all out. And then I go over it again with that dark brown lip liner we used earlier, just to make sure everything is cohesive. The lips are popping, the outline is popping, everything looks juicy and gorgeous. And it does. It definitely does. And to lock it all in, I'm going in with my Weleda Cosmetics Hold Me Down Daily Hydra Matte Setting Spray. That is a mouthful, but I drench my face in this. And then use my hand fan to dry it down. Once everything is dry, I go over my tiny beauty mark with the pen I used for my eyebrows. It's a dark brown pen. And for the second beauty spot, I make that up. That's not a real thing. I just make that up. And baby, it's a look. Look how fucking gorgeous this look is. Look how effortless everything looks in the end. Look at how everything blended out nicely. It looks really, really pretty. So stunning. Just gorgeous. So delicious. Do you see how cohesive everything is? I'm obsessed. I'm in love with this girl. I want to know who this girl is. She's gorgeous. This is the finished look, girls. I can't stop staring at my face. It's so freaking gorgeous. Even though I've been doing my makeup for years, every time I'm still like, wow, girl, you did that. You ate that off. Because, I mean, look at the material up close. Why would I not be obsessed with it? Like, why would I not be obsessed with myself? What? Daytime, nighttime, whatever the event is, whatever the occasion is, this look works, okay? And it's guaranteed to get you a shit ton of compliments. Just trust me, it does. Every time someone always says, oh my God, you look so pretty. Oh my God, I love your makeup. Like, it's guaranteed to eat the girls up every single time. As promised, I will list out everything I used in the description bar below with their names, shades. If I can find direct links, I will definitely link them. All of the products I used in this video are totally affordable and for sure very accessible. All of my brushes are from AliExpress. I have used those brushes for years. I keep going back to repurchase them. They're affordable, they're super high quality, they get the job done, and they're beautiful. When it comes to makeup, I feel like your technique and placement is like 70-80% of the work. Products only matter so much. You could use the most expensive products, but if you don't place them properly or have good techniques, the look will still not give what you're trying to give. Do you get what I mean? And technique gets better with practice. So keep practicing, girl. So we can keep eating these looks up together, okay? That's all for me for today. I really, really, and truly hope that you loved this video, that you found it very helpful. If you made it all the way to the end, you are squad, and I love you so freaking much. Thank you for hanging with me for 28 whole minutes. I will see you in the next one. So until next time, stay beautiful, girl. Bye.